Hey guys, welcome to another round of Otaku United AS. Today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Panzer Dragoon, the remake for the PlayStation 4. Now I have played this game already a few times. The couple things I do want to focus on are the changes to the game. For one, it's not the original. A lot of things have been changed in terms of the graphics and the overall feel of the game. I'm going to go straight into the options menu for just a minute. And a couple of things that stood out to me right away when I initially played the game were the reticle, which can actually be turned on for the classic one. And the new reticle actually, it doesn't look as nice, but when you start playing the game, it actually fits pretty well. The old reticle, which is the classic reticle, doesn't really fit the game that well when you're actually playing it, and it's actually harder to aim with the classic reticle. Something I think they honestly should fix in an update, but given this game's been out for over a year now, I don't think they're going to do that. So in any case, I kept it on the classic reticle, and if we go to sound settings, we have an option between the original soundtrack and the remaster. For the original soundtrack, the game does sound, the original soundtrack's phenomenal, it's gold, but it doesn't match the remake. There's a lot of things changed in the remake that feel different, and honestly, the newer soundtrack fits the remake much better than the original one. So, I guess what I want to say about Panzer Dragoon Remake is that it is a good game. It definitely holds true to the original in many ways, but it's not the original. It's more of a reimagining of the original. The pacing is the same, but at the same time, things feel different. Certain stages feel, I want to say, shorter to some degree, or less spaced out. Then again, the frame rate in this one is about 60 on average per second versus the 20 on the Sega Saturn original. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and stick with the original soundtrack. We're gonna stick with the remake soundtrack for this particular playthrough, and I'm gonna be looking at stage 2 right now so we can get a good idea of how this game feels. I think I saved it on stage 2 if I remember correctly. Let's find out. And if not, we'll start back from the original stage. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to skip the introduction just so we can show off stage 1 of the game. And again, this is using the remake soundtrack along with the updated reticle. Like I tried to mention, this game feels so different from the original. Like, my playthrough of the original on this particular stage has always been pretty flawless. I've been playing this game since it first came out multiple times. I think I've played the original at least a couple hundred times. And I still own it on my Sega Saturn. But this one just feels different overall. It's not a bad game. I actually really enjoy the remake and the overall approach they've taken for it. but the controls will take some getting used to. It's not the original game. For one, aiming is a lot tougher in this game than in the original. But getting hit is a lot more forgiving as well, so taking a hit isn't that big of a deal in this particular version of the game. Like that scene, for example, never have I gotten hit on that particular scene in the original game. I wouldn't say this game is tougher, it's just different, and that's what's going to take some getting used to. Specifically the controls. They don't feel the same as the original. Like in the original game, it feels better to use the D-pad, but in this one, it feels actually way better to use the analog stick, at least when it comes to aiming. Not to mention, I haven't had to turn my Dragon around that much in this first stage, whereas in the original game, I was turning around at least, you know, more frequently, I would add. I mean, you can really tell they stuck to the original source material in this game, and they're doing it justice in quite a few areas, but it just feels like a different game than playing it. And again, it's not a bad thing, because I feel like it really does introduce Panzer Dragoon to a new generation, which is ultimately good. But the music, for one, you have to use the newer soundtrack in order to really get that sensation of playing the Panzer Dragoon game. The newer soundtrack matches it much better than the original. And while it's different, certain tunes and themes do quite hold up. See, that usually didn't happen on the original Sega Saturn version of the game. Also, if you could see those guys shooting at me, they were much easier to get rid of on the original Sega Saturn version. But there you go, that's stage 1 in a heartbeat. I really like the art direction. I really like the direction they took in terms of the overall artistic direction of this newer version. It's a beautiful game, at least the way it looks. A couple of things could have been better, but the overall art direction is good. I think the transition from scene to scene, that's problematic. It was more seamless in the Sega Saturn version than it is in this one, but the opening cinematic is so much nicer in this version. In any case, we're going to kind of skip the story sections, And we're going to look at Stage 2, or Episode 2. And again, this is different because in the original, it really went from ending the stage to the cinematic to Stage 2. The load times are a lot faster than the original Sega Saturn game than in this new version. I really wish I could show you guys a side-by-side, but I don't have a way of recording Sega Saturn footage. And here we go. Like, this looks beautiful, right? But the problem is that it doesn't feel like the original game. All of this is so different. The opening sequence, that's pretty much the same. In terms of how you, like, take out these worm-like creatures, right? But then over here, all of this is different. The way you approach that, the way you approach the caves or the caravans, all that stuff is different from the original. Massively, I might add. And this one really doesn't feel like caves. The original one felt like you were inside a cave. And this one, you're like, it's more like a petrified forest with a pathway. And while honestly, too, the overall design of the dragon looks good, but certain things they took certain liberties with the design, specifically in the wing of the dragon and how it attaches to the body. It just looks different from the original in a lot of ways. Guys, this is like one of my first playthroughs of the game, so you have to forgive my, you have to forgive me for getting hit so many times, but it doesn't feel like the original. I can't stress that enough. This feels too different from the original game in terms of gameplay. But again, they keep the overall atmosphere of the original, and I like that about it. And you could tell like the original Dune was going for, the original Panzer Dragoon was going for like that overall Dune feeling of these giant worms, you know, diving in and out of the sand. And the remake kind of nails that overall look. At least that they were trying to go for in the original. But it feels different too, and that's part of the problem. All right, here we are, episode 3. I'm going to do the very beginning of this episode, and then I'm going to call it a day. You know, overall, I feel like Panzer Dragoon Remake is definitely plays homage to the original in a lot of ways. You know, it definitely is a huge redesign on a lot of the overall feel of the stage, the artistic direction. But in a lot of ways, it does things right. The gameplay itself is quite good. I mean, it's more of a first impression of the game. Believe it or not, I haven't played the original. I haven't played this one before this, but I really like the original. I really like the feel of this game overall. Music, it's different but beautiful. But the gameplay will definitely take a lot of getting used to. Alright guys, this is Otaku United AS signing out. Let me know. This is Otaku United AS signing out. Let me know what you think of this game, and if you would like to see other short videos of me doing slight commentary or small commentary while playing through specific games. Leave comments, likes if you can. Obviously, I'd like you to subscribe, and I'll see you all around in the next video. Peace out for now.